The car you see with us here today is the Lexus NX300h, and this is the entry-level Lexus you can buy in India. Now the H in the name denotes that this is a hybrid. In fact, this is the only petrol hybrid SUV in its segment. So how is it to drive? What is special about it? How are the features? And how much does it cost? And at the end of the day, does it make sense to buy this over one of the other European SUVs or not? That's exactly what we'll find out over the next few minutes. Now, one of the first things you will notice about the NX300h is the fact that it has such a distinctive and sharp styling, and this is what really sets it apart from any of its other European SUVs. In fact, it's hard to not be impressed by this design. Being a Lexus, it has all those trademark traits. You've got these sleek and sharp looking headlamps, the LED DRLs, again these are sharp looking units. You have this massive grille, which of course we have now become used to seeing on Lexus vehicles. There is a fair bit of chrome to keep Indian buyers happy, and if you look at the way the panels and all of the creases merge together, it has that Japanese flavor in the design, and that is what makes it look so special. Even on the side, you've got these very nice looking alloy wheels. They really look the part, and of course even on the side, the SUV does have quite a sporty look, and that is because of the roof line that tapers down as you move back to the tailgate. That said, at the rear again you have sharp looking tail lamps. All of it comes together and gives the NX300h a very strong and a dynamic presence. Step inside the cabin of the NX300h and you might have a mixed feeling, and that is because once you are done ogling and being impressed with the modern looking and the razor sharp exterior design, you step inside the cabin and it feels as if this was designed about a decade back. There are so many buttons, it's a bit of a clutter, and it just doesn't go in sync with the exterior design. The guys who were designing the exterior, it seemed they were working on the beach having pina coladas, and that energy shows in the design. Well, where the people who made this interior were, well, that's up to you to guess. But coming to the quality of the materials, well, no complaints with that. If you look at the soft touch dashboard here, the fitment quality, the material quality is top notch. Even the aluminium inserts here, the finish here is again very impressive. And of course, there is this unique design. It does stand out when you compare it to the usual design that we see, but at the same time, like I said earlier, it's got too many buttons, and that is something that we're not used to seeing on modern vehicles these days. And you do have this screen here. Well, of course, it is the same screen that you get on most Lexus vehicles, and it does not support touch function, so there's nothing you can do with touch. It has it's a trackpad, and to be honest, it's not one of the most convenient systems to use, and initially it takes some time getting used to. So for the first few days it can actually be very annoying, especially using it while you're driving or when you're doing something else. It is very hard. So yes, this is something that again remains something that could be improved. Then again, there's this instrument cluster, again loads of information. I like the it's kind of a old school but yet modern clean design, so easy to decipher all information. There's a digital MID in between, gives you access to all sort of information you would want, and it also lets you know whether the power is being transmitted to the wheels from the engine or the battery, when the battery is being charged. All of that stuff you can see it here in a very easy to decipher manner. If you look at the overall The space in the cabin, again, that is also quite nice. The door pockets, the center console, even the armrest beneath the armrest console, in fact under the driver armrest console. And you have this wireless charging pad here, and it's all good. The wireless charging pad is good, but I have a Note 20 Ultra, and with a phone case, if I put my phone for charging, I cannot close the armrest again. So that is a bit of thing, but only if you have a phone as large as the Note 20 Ultra. Otherwise, you should be fine. So yes, a nice cabin, good seats. I mean, of course, these get heated seats, which won't be of much use in India. I mean, except a few places, it would have been better to have ventilated seats, the cooling function, but these ones come with heating function. The seats themselves are quite nice. The cushioning is nice. The support is nice. These are electrically adjustable. You've got a big panoramic sunroof. In fact, this is bigger than what you would find on many other SUVs in this segment. This is one of the biggest panoramic sunroofs I've seen. So yes, it gives you a good sight out of the car, and yeah, I mean, good bits. The only thing is it doesn't look as modern and classy as the exterior design, and there are bits that still remind you, such as this gear shift selector, some of the buttons and some of the knobs here. Well, these again remind you of the Toyota bits that have been carried into the Lexus. The experience of the rear seat again is a mixed experience. Now the seats, well, very nice. The cushioning is good. The seat size is nice. The width is nice. In fact, the under thigh support also is nice. I've got a good amount of knee room here. There is a good amount of space to slide my feet under the driver's seat. So yes, comfortable in all that aspect. The backrest incline angle is good. Where it can get a bit problematic for people is who are taller than me. Now you see, I am just 5 feet 8 inches and I just about have enough headroom. A bad speed breaker or a bump at high speed and I'll have my head brushing against the roof. So if you're someone who's taller, probably closer to 6 feet, well, this is not a seat you're going to enjoy much. So as long as you're someone who is not taller or does not have taller people in your family than 5 feet 8 or 5 feet 9 inches, I think the NX300H just about manages to do the job in as far as the rear seat comfort is concerned. Now before we go ahead and tell you what is the kind of hybrid technology that this vehicle has, please do not forget to subscribe to our channel and press that small bell icon to stay updated to all forthcoming Express Drives videos. And now on to the driving part of the NX300H. Now it's a hybrid, so it comes with a 2.5 liter petrol engine and 2 electric motors, one on the front axle, one at the rear, and that technically makes it a 4-wheel drive SUV. Now coming to the engine first, well, the engine with its power output on paper, I mean, like about 195 horsepower, it seems quite adequate. In fact, seems this might be quite a fun SUV to drive, but it also has a battery pack and those 2 electric motors I just spoke about, and what that does is that adds a lot of weight. In fact, despite the fact that, I mean, this is not a full-size SUV, this weighs close to 2 tons. So you can imagine how heavy it is because of the battery pack and the electric motors. And once you get going, the negative effect of that weight shows up. Now, make no mistakes, it's not a slow-moving SUV. You can get it off the line. You can get a quick launch off the line. Of course, you have the additional power coming in from those electric motors, so you feel that instant thrust. But where it does miss out is once you start going towards the top end, once you get into higher speeds, well, that's where it starts running out of steam. And when I say running out of steam, it's not that it cannot uh, reach or attain high triple digit speeds. It can do that with ease, but it just never feels comfortable doing that. Now this is mated to an automatic gearbox. It's an eCVT. Now this is quite a refined unit. Despite being a CVT, it does not have the kind of rubber band effect that we're accustomed to seeing on many other CVTs. So there is a lot of improvement in that respect. But despite that, try going faster, and what you get is still a loud whine, lot of sound, and slow progress. In fact, there are gear shifts, so one might think that these would make things better, but they do not make much of a difference, because even when you're using the gear shifts, the change in the engine RPM is not much. So the gear shifters, I mean these paddle shifters, don't make any kind of a significant difference to the driving. And as a result of this, the NX300H is a vehicle that is very comfortable and fine doing your city speeds and going about doing your usual runabout business from point A to point B. No worries with that at all. The only issue is that if you're looking for an SUV that you can have fun driving, well, this is definitely not your choice or good choice for that. It is not an SUV that wants or loves to be driven hard. You cannot have any driving fun. It is not engaging to drive, but at the same time, it is smooth, it is refined, and it is effortless to drive. And if that is what you're looking for, well, then the NX300H does make a lot of good sense. Now, one of the other benefits of having a hybrid powertrain is the fact that you can go up to certain speed, that is low speed operations can be done under EV power solely. So your engine is not working, like for example right now my engine is working because the battery charge is low, but once the battery has enough charge, you can do a short bit of distance on the battery alone, and that increases fuel efficiency and cuts down emissions. And if you want to know what kind of higher fuel efficiency it exactly gives, well, I've been driving this car now for last about 4 days, and the average fuel efficiency I've got is 15.3 kilometers to a liter. And you must keep in mind that most of this driving was done in heavy traffic in Delhi, and whenever we had an open bit of road, we were really using our right foot as much as we can for getting the testing data. But that said, 15.3 for an SUV that weighs almost 2 ton is a very good fuel efficiency, and if you are going to drive it on a daily basis in a more sedate manner, I'm sure you can get a little bit more. And so that's about the hybrid powertrain. I've already discussed the engine and the gearbox, how all of that works. Now coming to the ride quality and handling. Now the ride quality of the NX300H is very, very impressive. This has a soft suspension setup, and I think it has one of the best ride qualities in this segment, um, far better than some of its German rivals. And it has variable dampers and all that stuff, but at the end of the day, when you go over a pothole or a speed breaker or a surface undulation, it just soaks in everything so nicely, and a very little bit of it is transferred to the cabin. And that makes for a very comfortable and a relaxing driving experience, or a relaxing occupant experience. In terms of handling, well, straight line stability is no problem, as even at higher triple digit speeds. Around corners is where, I mean, it doesn't really feel uncomfortable. You can take corners at a fairly high speed in the NX300H. It's just that it's a heavy vehicle, and it has a fair bit of understeer, and so that is what you need to watch out for when you're going high over at high speeds through corners. But otherwise, it's relatively fine. What it doesn't really like is a set of quick turns, so you cannot go around a set of turns at a quick pace. It doesn't really feel comfortable transferring weight quickly from one side to the other, but go around one or two of them and it's fairly composed. The brakes are good. They do a good job of bringing this heavy SUV to a halt. It's a hybrid, so it's got brake energy regeneration, which is what regenerates and recharges, which charges the batteries, in fact. So the initial bite is very strong, but the being a hybrid, it has a very dead kind of a pedal. There is no feel. It feels very wooden. In fact, it feels so wooden that it might take some time for you to getting used to if you've never driven a hybrid before. So even the steering, again, it's light to use in traffic. It weighs up, but again, no feedback. It feels vague, even when the artificial weight gets added as speed builds up. So all in all, yes, a convenient to drive vehicle. It also comes with a 360-degree surround view camera system, so that also makes it easy to drive in tight traffic or in tight maneuvering in tight parking spots. But at the end of the day, what we can tell you is that the Lexus NX300h is a very comfortable vehicle to drive or be seated in, but at the same time, it's not one you would like to pick if you want to go out, have some driving fun. And now that brings us to the end of the video, but before that we need to address the big question, and that's the price. Now the NX300h is priced at about 60 lakh rupees ex showroom, and at that price I cannot say that this is priced aggressively or even comparatively. It is not. It is on the higher end of things in its segment, but at what you need to look at is that you get an SUV that is nicely equipped. It has a good set of features. It looks really good, so it stands out from any of its rivals. It is comfortable to drive. It is a hybrid, but at the same time, keep in mind it is not an SUV you would want to buy if you are someone who wants to have an engaging and a fun to drive experience. So yes, if a comfortable, a refined SUV is what you're looking for, and if the rear seat, the headroom isn't a prerogative for you, and you want to stand out in a sea of German SUVs, well, the Lexus NX300h is a good option there.